My husband, Chandler, had just the most tragic death. We were ballooning over Galveston, and Chandler was leaning over the railing with his new digital movie camera when Fernando, our captain, popped the champagne cork with that and an ill-timed gust of wind, and Chandler toppled right out of the basket. He was falling into the Gulf. I leaned over the railing to wave goodbye. Fernando's tan, brawny arms held me in so tightly, and I watched as Chandler tumbled and flailed and turned into a dog, and then a rodent, and then just an itty-bitty cockroach. He waved goodbye just before he splashed into the sea. I think he waved. I think it was a wave. My only comfort was knowing that he died instantly. I mean, by the time the rescue boats got there, those sharks had turned him into nothing but a cheap cut of ground round. There was just nothing left of him except his nose and his penis. I mean, they were both so distinctive. I wanted to have an open casket, but well. After the funeral, I took the insurance money. It was on a friend's advice. You can just imagine how distraught I was. And I took one of them package tours to Buenos Aires. 2 weeks of tango, a day of surgery, and 3 weeks to recover. Oh, you meet the very nicest people. And the doctor, he was a very, very handsome man. He brought me in this whole selection of saline sacks to choose my new dress, from teensy-weensy to elephantine. And you know, you start playing and squeezing those things, and you just don't want to stop. I know exactly what men mean by a handful. I mean, it's magic. So I did go a little bit bigger than I planned. But I was still in shock from seeing Chandler's little tiny penis and that great giant nose just lying there side by side on the white silk of the casket, just so pink and naked and lost. Oh, where was I? Catherine, you weren't anywhere. Today isn't about you. Now, we have promised to come here for Kimberly. Today is all about Kimberly. We've said we'd come here and help her resolve this little problem she's got herself into. I really appreciate it. I'm really confused. Hold it. Dr. McKitten, Botox, A-list. Call Frank back, B-list. Follow up on maintenance, C-list. Updating lists. Are these apps not amazing? I have immediate to do, soon to do, today to do, tomorrow to do, eventual to do, this year to do before I die to do. When a to do falls into another time slot, I get an alarm every hour. What would be worse than to die and be buried with your iPhone going off every hour? Now, if you don't do your to-dos, you really get nothing done. All accomplishments are just a series of smaller to-dos. I have divided every life goal into its component parts, then I use a PERT chart to establish contingencies. That's how I've accomplished what I've accomplished in my life. It was not by not doing. I am what you would call a doer. I do. I was an EVP. Always had a title. Oh, not like a Mrs. to a Mr. No. Anyone could get that. No offense, Catherine. No, I was never an add-on attachment to someone else. I earned my titles and not when they were easy to do. Alicia, I thought today was supposed to be all about Kimberly. I am giving Kimberly the benefit of my experience. Now, I wore suits, fashionable suits, but always suits, and never lace, not a hint of lace. And Kimberly, never, ever, ever a cropped shirt. No one dresses like that anymore, Alicia. Everyone wears jeans and crop tops. Well, dress for the job you want, not for the one you have. This is how my boss dresses. Anyway, work isn't exactly my biggest problem right now. You know that, Alicia. Isn't it? You think you can just break the momentum? Oh, you've had it too easy. You don't know what it was like to be hard. I was one of the first women, first to speak at the conferences, first to sit on the panels, first to break into those old boys clubs. There's hundreds of us first women. But where we went first didn't make the news, made us who we are. God, the fools I tolerated. Alicia, the men I work with, they're not fools. I like them. Maybe too much. Maybe that's the problem, plus one night of stupidity. But nothing has really made sense since school. I was a student from 6 to 26. I studied, took tests, got good grades. I knew where I stood, how I was doing. Where are the grades? Kimberly, your company is poised to go public. Now listen, you can buy happiness, but you cannot buy money. You know what you need to do. Freeze some eggs for the future when the time is right. When's that? I'm 33 and I have never been super in love. I thought you just go along and the magic happens. Well, it's never happened. I mean, how do those people do it? The ones that fall in love when they're like 16? I mean, they've met, 100, 200 people? Dated 10 or 20? And maybe slept with 4 or 5, maybe none. And from that tiny sample set, they decide to fall in love and stay together the rest of their lives? Just like that? Well, I'm like a kid in an ice cream store. Some days I want caramel swirl. And other days, just a nice light sorbet. But other days, it's like heat candy crunch. And I've never even tried the double dark chocolate or the salted caramel, and every day there's new flavors. Okay, I know, some people, all they ever wanted in life was the strawberry ice cream. Every ice cream store they go into, strawberry ice cream. Well, I never had a favorite flavor. I just always wanted to try something new. Kimberly, sometimes life just decides for you. You know how important children are. I know. I've thought about it a lot. I mean, there's experiential happiness, the happiness of the moment. But with babies, that's just changing diapers and not getting enough sleep. And no one I know who actually has a baby is all that happy in the moment. They're mostly just tired and short-tempered. And then there's rearranged brain cells. I mean, women I knew who were totally into new media and politics suddenly become focused on this one 20-pound mass of poop and noise, and I am not at all enthused about rearranged brain cells. But then there's perceptual happiness. You know, the remembering you. The you that remembers how great it was to have babies. And I'm afraid that if I don't have this baby, the old me is going to be really disappointed in the young me. But the young me, the now me, is experientially pretty happy. I just don't want to piss off the old me. Kimberly, the time isn't right. This is your time for your career. think if men had babies, this would even be a debate? If men had babies, Viagra would be illegal and the morning after pill would be sold in a 12-pack. No, as far as I am concerned, it is decided. It is not decided. Why, nothing's more important than family. Why, my Chandler, he was just the most loving husband and father. I mean, we had a beautiful home. Can I see a picture of me in my home? Yes, on the bearskin rug by the fire. It was taken au naturel. Oh God, here we go again. See that bearskin rug? That's all I've got left of my Chandler. He was just the most eager sportsman, and he was up on one of them fancy Alaskan fly fishing trips way up there near the Arctic Circle. What Bill and Dave tell me happened is they were fishing downstream, and Chandler got up out of the water and hiked up this little bluff with his new camcorder. It had one of them automatic features, so he set it up on a rock. Then he went to take off his shirt. You know, he wanted to show me and the boys how he was thinking of us way up there in Alaska. So he takes off his shirt. Well, Chandler was one of them real bald men who grows all their hair from the Adam's apple on down. And I can hardly say it, but it's all in the camera. This love-starved grizzly bear mistakes that hairy backside for a potential mate. Well, you know, grizzlies are just like men, no foreplay whatsoever. And I sometimes do watch that movie because, oh, the way that bear is grunting and groaning just reminds me so much of my Chandler. Well, that grizzly, he's one of those males that gets so hungry after sex. You probably guessed. After he was finished with Chandler, there was just nothing left but his nose and his penis. They were just both so distinctive. Are you done? Alicia, you just don't understand. You've never been married. Well, I'm currently interviewing for the position. It's on my to-do list. I am looking for a highly successful man with a high IQ and EQ. The EQ, emotional quotient, combined with Myers-Briggs, I'm an ENTJ myself. Well, I've hired and fired all my life. And I know exactly what I want. And sex, I reserve for relationships with potential. Alicia, she treats her sexuality like it was a fine diamond. You know, I hate to tell her, but only wine is really admired for being both old and rare. But you can't tell her anything. She won't listen. She's too busy. Now me, I believe in sex. And God. And the Republican Party. Any men out there, 35, 40? You there in the booth? We could talk later. Okay, I'm getting older, but not the men I date. People say, well, they're young enough to be your sons. They're not my sons. And then they say, oh, maybe all they want is your money. I haven't got any money. So maybe all they want from me is sex. Well, praise the Lord, my prayers have been answered. I'd be sadder than a politician on Judgment Day if all they wanted to do was play checkers with me. Don't look at me like that. I practice safe sex, unlike some people. But ain't it something? I finally get to an age where I can make love without having to get pregnant, and the gods of practical jokes think up diseases that necessitate raincoats. Condoms. That's another reason for dating younger men. I don't mean to offend anyone, But trying to keep a condom on the erection of a 60-year-old man is just a little less theatrical than the myth of Sisyphus. Oh no, my lovers don't know how old I am. I'm younger, firmer, sexier, and raised in an enlightened era by enlightened women. Can I help if I want to date your sons? No, my lovers don't know how old I am. If they did, I spent a lot of money on improvements that didn't take. Now, I'm not telling lies, but I'm not exactly getting out my AARP card for discounts at museums either. But, you know, I finished menopause, meaning I'm finished with bloody menstruation and nasty-tempered PMS. What more could a man ask for? I am a highly sexual woman who makes no demands and has no downtime. Hey, I used to walk into any room. I was a head turner. I'd walk into any room and the heads would just turn toward me like I was a magnet and their heads were made of iron. That's how I met Chandler. I walked into the room and he just turned right toward me. Then one day, I noticed the heads, they weren't turning the way they used to. Well, not in my direction. Not even Chandler's. Chandler's head turned away and his body just followed him right out that door. Yeah, Chandler's not dead. He's my ex-husband, but no harm in a little imagination. If only the words would make it true. Now, that'd be the real prize in the Cracker Jacks. But you know, you can't say I didn't have a successful marriage. 18 years, now that is a success. Kimberly, you should be so lucky. What I don't understand, how did you get yourself in this mess to begin with? I don't get men. I mean, I like them and they like me, but I don't get them. They ask you out, and then they call you up and they ask you where you want to go and when you want to go and how you want to get there. And by the time it's over, I end up planning the whole date. I mean, the only thing they take responsibility for, at least the guys in my age group, is they always have condoms. The only time I was ever with somebody that didn't have their own condoms, he was a little older. That's the other thing I don't get. I don't get sex. I mean, it's like I got total control. I've got it, they want it. And I like sex, but I don't always want them to spend the night. I mean, I'm trying to sleep, and they take over the whole bed, and there's no room for me, and it's not just the bed, it's conversations. Why would I want to give up a world where I matter for one where I'm nothing, and nothing I say matters? And I understand that relationships are supposed to be about compromise, but it doesn't feel like compromise. It feels like being eliminated. Still, I like sex, but I like ice cream, and it makes you fat. It's not that I don't fall. You know, I do fall for people. Okay, maybe not that once in a lifetime, never felt this way before kind of fall, but I fall. I fell for Jonathan. He was the older guy without the condoms. He was different. Like, he actually planned dates and made reservations, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I mean, it was different than just hanging out or hooking up. It was like dating. I hate that word. But he was just saffron ginger, a flavor I hadn't tried yet. And now I've missed my period, and I don't want the old me to be really disappointed. I wish I could have that once-in-a-lifetime ocean wave that just knocks you down and makes you want to be in love forever. I wish all my friends would get married. Marriage and divorce, they're just viruses you catch from your friends like the swine flu. If all my friends would get married, I'd want to settle down too. It means settling down or settling for. It's a preposition or an adverb. Settling down. That sounds like an accomplishment, a phase of life's journey. But settling for, oh, that sounds like giving up, like the best you could do. So what is it? An adverb or a preposition? Kimberly, it's not a grammatical question. Just have that baby. Kimberly, do you want the years of suffering that Catherine endured? 15 years were wonderful. Okay, not every day is perfect. Sometimes you just have to hold your breath and swim underwater till you get to the other side. Well, maybe Kimberly doesn't want to spend her life swimming underwater. Actually, I can't swim. I'm allergic to chlorine. Kimberly, Alicia doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what marriage is. I know what Chandler was doing while his wife buried her head underwater. I did not bury my head. I prioritized family. Kimberly, you can have in a few years what it took me a lifetime. Kimberly doesn't want your nothing life. Your eggs never hatched, never came to fruition, just left to rot and stink. She didn't want to be like you. Actually, Alicia's life is pretty awesome. I mean, the penthouse and all. Kimberly, all Alicia ever did was work. Worked all the time. And why? What, she didn't cure cancer. She was a banker. On her tombstone, it's going to read, Alicia Pinkstone, rest in peace, banker! I blazed the trail. All the Kimberlys of this world should get down on their ungrateful knees and thank me for their choice-ridden lifestyles. Alicia, I am really sorry about this, but feminism is just so yesterday. I would never be a feminist. Nobody wants to walk down that trail you blaze. Nobody wants your lonely little lifestyle. Life's about family. Family's what matters. Why, we mothers, we live in our children's psyches. It's a kind of immortality. We're the guardian angels they carry with them and pass on to the next generation. My mother's mother's mother and her mother were passed into me and me into my grandchildren. My life would have no meaning without children. No meaning? What about living your own life? What about changing the world, Catherine? We're sentient beings, not just baby incubators. Everyone defines you but you. I define myself as part of a family. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Why can't you respect me? Respect you? For breeding in an overpopulated world? Well, congratulations. But if this world doesn't progress, that granddaughter you're haunting as her guardian angel, she doesn't stand much of a future. Why don't you respect me? Because I feel sorry for you. You don't have anyone to love. Actually, Catherine, I have you. I love you and Kimberly and myself, and these relationships have lasted longer than any other relationship in your life. Kimberly, life is about fulfilling your potential. Kimberly, life is about family. Kimberly, don't throw it all away. Kimberly, don't throw it all away. I feel like Bella, having to choose between Jacob and Edward, between a vampire